Passage of Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026 draws ayes and nays in different quarters. Stakeholders posit that enforcement of punitive actions on electoral offenders will deepen Nigeria's democracy. INEC meets political parties, registers 2 more. And on security, Nigeria to pull no punches in the fight against outlaws. We have these and more on our lineup. I'm Fisai Ogunfuyi. This is Political Update. Welcome. President Bola Tinubu has formally been briefed on the attack on Wuru community, Kayama local government area of Kwara State, in which over 100 residents were reportedly killed by gunmen. Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, who visited the community on Wednesday for an on-the-spot assessment, was in the State House to brief the president on the incident. After a private audience, Governor Abdulrazak, in an interview with State House correspondent Musbah Odan Wahab, revealed that the new directive from the president.
Yes, I came to brief Mr. President about what happened in Kayama local government of Kwara State, and also to thank him for the prompt action taken by the President by establishing Operation Savannah Shield. That will go a long way in deterring and bringing calm to the region in Kwara State. Mr. President has directed the armed forces to move in and to clean out the place and make sure peace and calm is restored.
Okay, so with your meeting with Mr. President, what hope do you have to give back to your people when you meet him?
Well, after meeting the President, I'm confident because as I speak to you, the Force Commander for Operation Savannah Shield has reported in Kwara State, Ilorin, today. And is hitting the ground running, and we rely on the military to do what they do best.
All right, to political matters now. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawe Iwada, says the ruling party is striving hard to ensure inclusivity amongst party members despite the growing population within the party. The national chairman, in company of the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, some high-ranking members of the National Assembly, some state governors met with President Bola Tinubu in the State House. Professor Iwada revealed that the meeting was to update the president on the plans for the party's coming national convention. The party had recently constituted a 73-member Central Coordination Committee for its 2026 national convention, appointing Senator Hope Uzodinma, governor of Imo State, and chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum as chairman. The party's national chairman says efforts are on for a successful convention.
Just to study the environment and review our preparation as a party and to ensure inclusivity, both the national and subnational. I want to carry everybody along the party. We have new members who have come in, new governors, new members. The party is expanding every day. We are growing beyond bounds. We want to ensure that in the course of this growth, everybody and nobody is left behind. Mr. President, as you know, is a shrewd politician, very experienced, and his advice was remarkable, and I think that's why we're here today. The expansion, the growth is because of his experience and his depth of knowledge in political cycle.
One of the key developments from the National Assembly this week was that the Senate passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026 with a proposal of 5 million naira fine for electoral offences like vote buying.
We do it painstakingly, taking our time to ensure that what comes out reflects the yearnings and aspirations of all Nigerians, and also to be sure that the next election, all questions connected with the next election will be answered by the amendments.
It took the Senate more than 8 hours of closed session and 4 hours for clause-by-clause consideration to pass the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2026.
The party who alleges no compliance with the provisions of this act in conduct of election shall call oral evidence. Judges are saying that we are not going to your documents or go through and do extra work. If you come up with documents, come and tender them and prove them.
The bill seeks to enhance credibility of elections in Nigeria and ensure that stakeholders are held accountable. In the amended document, the permanent voter card remains the means of voter identification, as Senate rejects the downloadable voter card with unique QR code. Though the Senate endorsed increasing electoral offences-related fine from 500,000 naira to 5 million naira, it jettisoned the imposition of a proposed 10-year ban from contesting election on anyone found guilty in this regard. Senate supported both manual and electronic transmission of election results. In view of some disparities in the legislation passed by the Senate and House of Representatives, the Red Chamber has constituted its conference committee with the Chief Whip, Senator Mohammed Tahir Mungunu, as chairman for harmonization. Senate had, at the commencement of plenary, condemned recent security breach in Katsina State, which left scores dead, including some personnel of the Nigeria Police Force.
The criminals continue to exploit porous forest corridors. People are unable to engage in their agricultural activity and therefore negatively impacting good security of the country. Face them squarely. While we commend the military, we should also, all hands should be on deck.
The sheer determination shown by the bandits indicate that we need to add more force. We need to bring more technology.
It commended President Bola Tinubu and security agencies for prompt intervention. Senate also held a valedictory to honor late Senator Okechukwu Ezia.
Offer prayers for the repose of the soul of late distinguished Senator Okechukwu Ezia.
Plenary has been adjourned to Tuesday, 24th February 2026.
Now, in a related development, the Senate Minority Caucus says electronic transmission of election results was not rejected by the Senate during the clause-by-clause consideration of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, as reported by some sections of the media. The Senate on Wednesday passed the bill at plenary, leading to the Minority Caucus to brief the media. Senator Inaya Baribe explained that what the Section 60 sub 3 of the Electoral Act says is that results from each polling unit will be transmitted to the IRF portal in real time after the prescribed Form EC8 had been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and countersigned by candidates or polling agents available at the polling unit.
All our constituents have been asking questions, and we're telling them, no, this is what we passed. We passed electronic transmission of votes in real time, of results in real time, and that is where we are. The votes and proceedings will show what we pass, and in the votes and proceedings, if what we pass is not there, we insist that what we pass must be put in the votes and proceedings.
The caucus assured Nigerians that it would also ensure that what was collectively agreed upon during the clause-by-clause consideration is what is reflected in the votes and proceedings of the sitting of the electoral bill passage. Still in the same vein, the House of Representatives has constituted a bipartisan conference committee to work with the Senate to harmonize areas of difference in the Electoral Act Amendment Bill passed by both chambers. House spokesman Akin Rotimi says this is in accordance with legislative procedure ahead of the final passage of the bill by the National Assembly. The conference committee has Representative Adebayo Balogun as chairman, with Representatives Fred Agbedi, Sada Soli, Ahmed Jaha, Igarewe Enwo, Seidu Abdullahi, and Zainab Gimba as members. The House of Representatives reiterates its commitment to advancing electoral reforms that strengthen transparency, credibility, and public confidence in Nigeria's democratic process. Meanwhile, the Social Democratic Party SDP says it has made its position known on the electronic transmission of results during the nationwide public hearings by the Senate in 2025 on the Electoral Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2026. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the SDP, Araba Rufus Ayinigba, therefore urges the Senate to ensure that the new Electoral Act Repeal and Enactment 2026 reflects the true national interest, demonstrates unambiguity in its legislative mandate and legal command regarding electronic transmission of results in real time by polling unit presiding officers. This, it says, will forestall any possible manipulation of future elections, as the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, and the INEC Result Viewing Portal, IREV, are fundamentally critical to ensuring transparency in the country's elections. The party says INEC has demonstrated that it has the infrastructure, technical capacity, will, and patriotic disposition to effectively transmit election results in real time, and therefore urges other relevant authorities to put their hands on deck and improve the electoral processes ahead of the year 2027. And talking about INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has registered the Democratic Leadership Alliance and the National Democratic Congress as new political parties. INEC Chairman Professor Joash Mukwitan disclosed this at the quarterly consultative meeting with leaders of political parties. With this, we have now 21 registered political parties ahead of the general elections next year.
Quarterly consultative meeting convened by INEC with the leadership of political parties is on the heels of growing public interest and anticipation surrounding the release of the timetable for the 2027 general election. This is in accordance with Section 28, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which mandates the Commission to issue a notice of election at least 360 days before the poll. While the Assembly is currently working on amendments to the Electoral Act, the Commission has made its submission as required.
2026 will be full of electoral activities for all electoral stakeholders, of which you are key in the run-up to the 2027 general election.
IPAC called on the National Assembly of Nigeria to also expedite action on the harmonization of electoral legal framework for the forthcoming general election, as time is of essence.
Also on the agenda of the meeting is voter revalidation exercise, dwindling voter turnout, continuous voter registration, political parties registration, and internal party democracy. INEC promised to consolidate improvements in the conduct of elections, beginning with the forthcoming FCT area council polls, Ekiti and Osun states off-cycle governorship elections, and the 2027 general election. Meanwhile, the Labour Party and PDP were represented by two sets of new leadership, Senator Esther Nenadi Usman as interim national chairman of Labour Party and Abdulrahman Mohammed as national caretaker committee chairman of PDP. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
All right, the newly registered political parties would not be part of the FCT area council elections, but in preparation for the 21st of February FCT area council elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will be conducting a mock election in 289 polling units across the FCT tomorrow, that is Saturday the 7th of February 2026, from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Now, the INEC says voters in those affected polling units are encouraged to turn out with their PVCs, permanent voters cards, and take part in the mock elections to help INEC fine-tune the process for the election. For the list of selected polling units, eligible voters are expected to check inecnigeria.org/FCT Area Council 2026 designated polling units for mock for the mock statement by the FCT Resident Electoral Commissioner Aminu Idris assured FCT citizens of INEC's readiness to conduct a successful area council election on Saturday, the 21st of February 2026. And talking about the FCT area council elections, just about a week plus ago, I had the INEC FCT rec here in the studio, and he gave us some information about what to expect on the day of elections and some of the logistics surrounding the elections, which is the first for the year.
You know that an endorsement today will be a condemnation tomorrow with political parties. So we work hard to try to live according to the rules of the game. That is the Electoral Act, INEC guidelines. We carry them alone. That is why some of them are aware of each step we take. We inform them where the law says we should do this, and we are doing it. And we explain all our processes with them. Not just political parties, but other stakeholders. We have visited almost not all the area councils, and we have met with a lot of traditional rulers, tried to brief them on our activities, so that on the day of our activity, which is the 21st of February, there will be peaceful conduct and people will do what they're supposed to do.
In terms of sensitization of voters, in other climes, this is under the purview of what political parties should be doing. But INEC, over time, having seen the low voter turnouts year in, year out, or election cycle after election cycle, INEC has taken that also on to make sure that the Nigerian voter is interested in the process. In terms of interaction with the people, prospective voters, and some of the sensitization that you have carried out as INEC in the FCT, what has the response been like? And are we seeing the people enthusiastic, especially knowing that this one that you are conducting is the lowest tier to the people?
Yeah, that is why we have engaged with a lot of civil society organizations. As we are talking now, some civil society organizations engaged by INEC are working at the area councils. They are doing meeting with stakeholders, encouraging people to understand the process, understand what is required of them in the conduct of election. So INEC's role is to make the process virtually known to everybody, so that knowledge will encourage people to participate more. The political parties also have responsibility to activate voters, because they are coming to vote for them. They should also play their role properly. All right, but let's look at FCT and its spread. We saw that over over a million voters expected to participate in this one. But looking at, in terms of the geography itself, a lot of people just see these shiny, lovely streets of the central part of Abuja and think that is all the FCT. But I know that you share borders with a lot of states, and sometimes there are some places that are hard to access. Yeah. In terms of the logistical planning for this, what has been done, and have you rigorously captured all those areas that sometimes when we are waiting for the vote from those areas, sometimes it can take some time? Yeah, I must confess that I was one of those people that used to see the shiny areas of Abuja and think that is the FCT. But having gone round as REC, I've gone to area councils, we have seen some locations that even I have not reached. But on election day, INEC must be there. There are difficult areas that are close to the border with Kogi State, with Niger State, which has to be covered. Like, for example, during the CVR exercise, we had to make special arrangements to get our people to certain locations to allow people to register. And this same arrangement, we'll try and do it again when we're distributing the PVC. So there are very difficult areas to reach in the FCT. They present logistic challenges, which we are working on seriously, even now. Just last week, we had a meeting with the Road Workers Union, Road Transport Union. And we are trying to make it a very seamless, efficient process, so that people will not see any hiccups in terms of deployment and in terms of retrieving our results once the election is over. All right, let's just look at the timelines for the day. Yeah. What are we expecting on the day of the election itself? Votes will open, the voters are expected at so time, and let me leave it to the REC. Yes, on election day, INEC's internal arrangement is to have our officers at the PU by 7 a.m. So we start movement from 5:30, 6 a.m., make sure that by 7 a.m. our officers are at the polling units. Voting itself starts at 8:30 a.m. And by 8:30, I think we'll be ready to receive voters and process voters efficiently, all the way till the close of polls in the afternoon. And then we start the process of counting, sorting and counting and declaration at the PU level. And of course, this is a local council election, so all the 62 councillor elections will be declared at the council level. The local government chairman, the 6th council chairman election will be declared at the local government area office of the commission.
We saw that voters register. For those who are because this is to a large extent, a lot of civil servants are here in the FCT, and many have just been transferred in the past few months. Those who have made requests for their voters card to come to the FCT, would they be able to participate in this?
Yes, actually, they are all part of the people being issued PVCs now. We had quite a number of, let me check the statistics and just give you correct numbers. The numbers of voters that have transferred into FCT and transferred out of FCT. The total number of voters that have newly registered is 102,307. And then we have those that have transfers out of FCT is 8,476. And then we have those who transferred into FCT, 775. So there are more people who transferred out than came in. But still, that if we combine that with the registered, or the new registers, that is how come we got the 102,307 newly registered voters. That is aside from those who just transferred there.
All right, I elect resident electoral commissioner there, and of course, all is now set for it. But just in a fortnight, exactly 2 weeks from now, the indigenes and of course people in the FCT will be going to elect area council, go for the area council elections. I will see how the parties perform as well and see what the turnout is like. A lot of people say that is a litmus test for INEC and looking at the off-season elections in the course of the year in Ekiti State and Osun State as well before the big one next year. That has been political update for today. We'll be back again on Tuesday. Between now and then, do play your politics for the greater good. But for news surrounding Nigeria and Nigerians, keep it locked on Nigerian Television Authority for news reviews, previews and interviews. Bye now.